Hi there, my name's Christopher Lewis and this is my presentation on my Formula Student steering wheel redesign. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I noticed about the original steering wheel that was used for the car is that it's exceedingly chunky. This is going to add to the overall weight of the car, and although it may not seem like a lot of weight, this will have quite a large impact on the racetrack. The second aspect of this steering wheel that I reckon I could improve is the fact the centre section is exceedingly thick and bulky, not allowing the driver much space to fit their hands. The central supports reaching out to the side of the steering wheel are going to severely impede the way the driver is able to grip the steering wheel. By thinning these out or completely getting rid of them, the driver is going to be able to have a much better grip of the steering wheel, allowing them to reach the centre of the steering wheel easier to make small adjustments to the brake bias of the car or other adjustments that may be required. The final aspect of this steering wheel that I'm going to improve on is the outside grip shape. The current design looks exceedingly uncomfortable for the driver in longer stints of driving, and by making it thinner towards the bottom of the grip, I reckon the driver is going to be able to have a much better grip of the steering wheel, allowing them to have much more direct steering impacts and be more consistent in longer stints on a track. So in the first slide I highlighted the points that I think can be improved on the steering wheel, but how am I going to do this? Am I going to create a whole new steering wheel, or am I going to make adjustments to the current steering wheel that's being used? I decided that due to the fact I want to redesign pretty much all of the steering wheel, it would make much more sense just to start from fresh. This meant that I wouldn't have any prior parameters to follow, and I could redesign the whole width and height of the steering wheel to make it a lot more accessible to a driver and to my own personal specifications. So with this in mind, I set to designing my own steering wheel. Following the errors I felt there were with the first steering wheel as demonstrated in slide 1, I made the steering wheel how I personally felt myself as a driver would want the steering wheel to feel, and how I felt other professional racing drivers would want the steering wheel to feel. Let's see how it turned out. So there you have it. My steering wheel clearly has a lot more curvature to it and will be a lot more comfortable for a driver to hold in longer driving stints. I also ensured that the steering wheel was a lot thinner than the prior steering wheel, as I felt that was the biggest problem with it. I also made the steering wheel slightly thinner in regards to the width and height of the steering wheel, as this will ensure the driver is able to easily reach all of the dials on the steering wheel, and also it will take less time for the driver to go from lock to lock. This will allow him to negotiate tight, awkward autocross tracks that the drivers will have to negotiate during a Formula Student event. And by reducing the height of the steering wheel, we're able to ensure that all different sizes of drivers will be able to drive the car without having issues seeing over the steering wheel. This is an error, trust me. Now, despite my criticism of the large surface area taken up on the centre of the original steering wheel, I opted to also have quite a lot of area taken up for the dials and LED screen. But with my design, I ensured that there was plenty of space for the driver to keep their hands and ensure they weren't going to have trouble reaching all the dials on the steering wheel. This is due to the fact I've removed the side supports that the driver would presumably rest their thumbs on the previous steering wheel design. By removing this, I allowed the driver to have a much stronger grip of the steering wheel, while also reducing the weight and allowing them much easier access to the centre console of the steering wheel. I also designed the steering wheel ensuring that it had no sharp edges and made sure there was significantly large chamfers along the edges of the steering wheel. This will also help the driver when it comes to removing his hand from the wheel to quickly make adjustments to the dials. So those are the main changes that my steering wheel has in comparison to the original steering wheel. But what material did I decide to use? The material I decided to go for was the 6061 aluminium alloy. This alloy is paired with magnesium and silicon, as this provides it with the properties that we require a steering wheel to have, such as it's going to withstand all of the forces that it may experience in the event of a car crash, but it's also going to maintain exceedingly low weights, which is what you require in a racing car. And even though the material is able to easily withstand all of the forces it will experience in a car crash, the material is also exceedingly easy to work with. The manufacturing process of this steering wheel would simply involve using a CNC machine and following the drawing that can be provided with dimensions from the CAD design that I made. The steering wheel would not only be made of this material though, It would also have Alcantara wraps and padding around the hand grips for the driver. This will ensure that the driver's gloves will bond nicely with the steering wheel and will ensure his hands won't slip off during longer races. I didn't include these in the CAD design though, as I wanted to ensure that the results I got were as similar as possible in regards to the weight comparisons between the two steering wheels. It's thanks to all of the properties of these materials that this is one of the most common materials to be used in aerospace manufacture and is commonly used in fighter jets and spaceships. So it may seem overkill that we're using it for a steering wheel, but in motorsport every second counts. So this slide here shows the difference in mass between both of the steering wheels. I believe that the mass of the original steering wheel was one of the biggest problems with it, not only because of its unergonomic design, but also due to the excess weight that it adds to the car. After assigning both of the steering wheels the same material, aluminium alloy 6061, we're able to assess accurately using SolidWorks the total weight that the steering wheel would be at. The original steering wheel design weighed 3.33 kilograms. This is in comparison to the 2.16 kilograms that my steering wheel weighed. This is a total reduction of 1.17 kilograms, which in motorsport is exceedingly significant, and could easily be the difference between first and second in a race. Also, by reducing the weight of the car in areas which are less significant, such as the steering wheel, you're able to put that weight towards another part of the car. This kilogram that we've saved could be the difference between the brake kit that you use on the car, which could thus improve your braking times and again take you further up the grid. So, in conclusion, do I feel as though my steering wheel is justifiably an improvement over the original steering wheel? Simply put, yes. Over the course of this presentation you can see that not only the weight has been reduced significantly on the steering wheel, it's also been made so that the driver is going to have a much better grip of the steering wheel. This will help them substantially thanks to the improved ergonomics, which really were lacking on the original steering wheel. And despite the fact my steering wheel does look a lot more simple compared to the original design, I genuinely believe that my steering wheel design is a lot better. Sometimes having the most advanced possible product on your car isn't the best way forwards. If you were to have an exceedingly over-the-top frontal rear wing on your car, you would dramatically increase the downforce on your car. So yes, it would be very fast through the corners, but then again, you'd be significantly hindered on the straights. So by simplifying the steering wheel significantly, we've helped to shed a lot of weight off the car, which, let's be honest, isn't really required when it comes to the steering wheel. As stated earlier, the weight that we've saved can be put into a much more useful section of the car and will help improve lap times, whereas a bulky steering wheel will not. Anyway guys, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you were able to take something away from it. Currently fading onto the screen now are all of the references that I've used for this presentation. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and a comment, and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell. My most recent videos are popping up on the screen. Keep safe guys, it's been Chris.